Hey Bianca, so I'm taking a look at your logo mock-ups that you did. I like it in usage here, but I don't think this is your logo. It looks more just like the flag, the English flag. So this looks very, very different than this. So I'm guessing on here just the logo usage was just the word mark back here. So I'd like to see the actual symbol in use on the clothing. As far as this one and this one, you did a good job on placing it on there. I would like to see them a little bit bigger though, because even if I zoom in, you know, when you're showing it to the client and stuff, this helps show the placement of where it would be located. But since in the presentation itself, these two items are very small, it's really hard to get an idea for what it's going to look like on the clothing. It's just kind of, you know, if I viewed it at regular size, if you're showing this to the client, then it looks like just kind of like a little blob here and there. So I would like you to make these images bigger so that you can present the logo in use a little bit better on the clothing. I see that you changed it up a little bit, it looks like. So you took the shield part of it down a little bit and extended the lines just a little bit more. I would keep the symbol part closer to the type, because on the variation that you had before, this distance here you usually want to keep the same. You don't want to just keep them, you know, randomly separate or space them out differently. So I would be mindful of the space that you put between the word mark, the official word mark, and the symbol itself. So maybe move it down a bit or move this part up a little bit so they're closer. The back part is a little bit plain. You have the area to do something really cool with it. And as far as like the whole indie style, there's usually a little bit more going on with it. It's not usually quite so minimalistic or plain. So since you have this area here, I would do something really cool with the design of it. It's clean and I think it looks good. You know, don't be afraid to use negative space in your design. But for your demographic, I think that it would work out well to have more integrated into the overall design with the hang tag. The business card, I think it's okay. I don't know if the black and white really fits your demographic though. It's very dramatic, especially right here with the red on the black and the white on the black. Very, very dramatic, which I don't necessarily get from your demographic. So I think one of the biggest things that I see, other than, you know, the logo, as I mentioned in phase 3, could still use maybe a little bit of work, but one of the biggest things that I see is trying to really focus on the overall message. Oh, hold on. Go away. 1 second. Gotta love Max. Okay. Is focusing on creating a cohesive message with your design, so making sure that everything is consistent, which you did with the business card and with the hang tag, but I don't know if it really targets your demographic very well. See other things as far as the alignment on everything, just make sure that maybe it's not too close there and it looks like your alignment's a little bit off between the different groups of text. I think you just kind of like scooted it over to the edge. So you want to make sure that everything is aligned perfectly. So these are a little bit off. As far as the ad goes, notice that you have it italicized here with the type, but you don't have it italicized anywhere else. And now that I'm looking at it, I think with this type, it looks like you kind of scrunched it in a little bit, you know, so that it's a little bit thinner than this here. So you don't ever want to do that. If you have your word mark for a logo, you want to make sure that you always scale it uniformly, which you can do by holding down shift, so it always scales the same, the width and the height, so that it's proportional, because it looks like you squished it here, which you don't want to do. With this ad here, you can't read this type. I guess you're not supposed to be able to, maybe, because it's just going over, saying the British are coming over and over and over. But there's a lot going on. There's not a lot of harmony in the layout, and it doesn't seem like there's a really good flow to it. And I know you guys went over this in ADG a little bit, how to work with layout and stuff with Amy. I know she usually harps on good layout. So I think the picture fits your demographic, but with the type going on top of it, it's very distracting, and the website info down here is kind of hard to read. If you zoom in, it's a little bit easier to read, but with your margins and stuff too, it's going to be really, really close. If you imagine this in a magazine where the fold is, this is going to get sucked into that fold. Like if it's on the inside part of a magazine, either right here or right here is going to be right in that crease. So you really want to be careful of your margins too. So I'd like to see a little bit cleaner with the ad. You do have a little bit more going on with the style, which is cool, which is kind of what I want to see here, is not quite as minimalistic so that it fits your target audience more, but a little, like, tone it down a little bit so it's not so distracting with so much going on. So just focus on a little bit more strategic layout. Other than that, I think I like some of the changes that you made with the logo, extending the lines. It makes it a little bit more distinct so that it's not quite so, not necessarily plain, but it does make it look a little bit more memorable and stand out from it just being kind of like a shield with the English flag. So looking better. Mostly just I'd like to see you focus on the layout and, you know, make these bigger and present the logo a little bit better on your mock-ups. Okay.